Okay, gang, here's another quick video tip for the MetriCKs car from CRC. This one focusing on rubber tires and the gravity rubber tires that we got on the car here. These are a little larger than most, so a couple of setup and initial build tips here. All the second wave of car kits is shipping with 2 washers between the upper deck and the chassis, both on the front pivot and the center pivot and the front pivot. So the kit build now is 2 washers between the upper deck and the lower chassis. And to run the larger rubber tires, we're going to start out with 2 of the 1529 shims below the steering block. They also come with the kit, and that is included in the box. So you put 2 there, and you get a little spacing of the steering block. And as we discussed in the earlier video, when you raise the steering block, you tend to compress the spring and add preload. So we have these small kingpin extension shims, nothing more than 1/8 inch shims. And as we said in the other video, 1 of the lower washers equals 2 of these that you run above the spring. So we're going to put 2 of the washers above the spring, put the spring on, and then with the 2 washers, the preload stays in check. And of course, that preload adjustment is something you're going to play with. You can add more shims to reduce the preload or take some out if you want the spring under more preload and more tension. With the gravity tires, we noticed that you need 1 axle shim here. We shipped the car with 2 per side, but with these wheels, for the CRC, you'd use 2, but for these, you use 1 of the shims and just throw that shim. And these are the same shims that are on the Kingpin, so they're nothing fancy. They're just 1/8 inch shims, but their OD is the same as the Kingpin. We have them made, and then put your lock nut on, and you're good to go there. So for ride height in the rear, we have a couple different options. The kit comes with the normal spacer of 2.2. Then we have an option bag, very affordable, just $4 for a 2, a 2.5, a 3, and a 3.5. So all kinds of adjustment with just a little option 3083. In this case, I have the optional 2mm graphite sitting on top of the stock 2.2. So that's what I have for ride height here. The top is a 2mm carbon over the stock unit, 2.2. And that gives us a pretty good ride height with the gravity, which are fairly large by today's standards. But it's easy to set up, and they work well, so that's all good. For front spring, and this is now getting away from the ride height and stuff and more in setup. Front spring, we tend to run pretty stiff with rubber tires, 60 and 65 front springs. We go back and forth. The kit comes with all 55s. Sometimes we run the 55s. In the front roll springs here, we stay with the kit 55s. The center bump spring, again, we stay with the kit 55. In the side vertical damper tubes, 15 to 5, kind of depends. And in the front steering block, again, 15, but lately we've been going a little lighter with 5 Kyosho damping grease. And that's a good place to start your setup. Rubber tires, sometimes the tracks won't take solid axles. So we have the diff kit available, the 4221. Pretty soon we'll have it with a black hub. Right now it's only silver. And a lot of times with these slower motors, you need a real small spur. And as we announced earlier in the week, we've got a 68, a 65, and a 62 available. Unfortunately, the 62 doesn't work with the diff. The 65 does, and that's what we got on this car here. So if you want to run a diff, we have a diff conversion. Pretty affordable. Right now it's silver hub. We hope to have a black one here soon. And with the kit build, 2 washers in between the upper chassis and the lower chassis, the extra shims that comes with it, you can get the car just where you want, front preload. And This will work for the gravity tires, which were a little larger, the upcoming CRC rubber tires, which aren't quite as big as these guys, but are bigger than foam. That's a good starting point. And sitting here right now, this car is going to be about 3.5 to 4 ride height. After we load it up with electronics, it'll be right around 3.5. We don't like to always run right down at 3. Even with foam tires, we're usually 3.5 to 4 at the big races and whatnot. At CRC Raceway, we're got enough grip here that we run a solid axle with the rubber tires. But that's about all you got to do to get your metric zinging around with rubber tires. We hope this helps. Over and out.